Hi, I'm Travis Skinner, and I'm excited to show you around the Anglerfish sauna. I've been doing construction for quite a while. I got hired by Zil Vardos in Olympia, Washington, and I had the opportunity to work with Abel and build several houses. In the past, I had thought about designs for a portable sauna, something a lot simpler. And that's when I went to Travis Kahn and talked to him about the concept of working together as a collective on a larger sculptural piece. And I told him I thought that the sauna was the perfect canvas. The anglerfish is from the deepest, darkest part of this planet. She has arisen from the depths to share a practice. This sculpture is about internal transformation, allowing the natural world to be our guide, to bow and slip into a primordial cave, to immerse yourself into a piece of artwork where the walls are the canvas. You are a part of the piece, and to experience it, you have to take part. I'm here with Jovanique Navarro, sharing a sauna.
Hi, I'm Jovanique. I'm a jeweler, beekeeper, and a gardener sharing a studio with Travis here on Lummi Island.
Sauna is a practice of cleansing one's body. The pores of your skin open in an involuntary environmental reaction. There is a physical transformation. Sauna cleans you, heals you, and connects you with the people around you in an intimate, safe community experience. We went through many different designs for different concepts of sculptural saunas, and the anglerfish, her shape was perfect because she's a stout, small fish that's large enough, and also her use of bioluminescence, being a bearer of light in the darkness. All of these concepts gave the impetus for us to move forward with that as the sculpture. We went to the drawing board and just started sketching our ideas.
This video is sponsored by Stellan Da Vinci. Imagine a small, portable, compact toolkit that has over 10 different tools to help you make anything that you need. Well, lucky for you, you can get yours today. Click the link in the description and get up to 40% off your Stellan Da Vinci toolbox today. And enjoy today's video. And remember to subscribe.
You cannot discuss the outside of the anglerfish without talking about the incredible metalwork of sheet metal smith Travis Kahn. He's focused his career on armor and making helms, and I discussed working on a project that utilized his skill set in armor on a building. There are 26 rows of scales, and each row is proportionately larger, so 16 scales of each proportionate size. When you look at the scales, they're not flat. Each one was hand hammered and shaped so that it creates a convex form. When sheet metal is flat, it can wave and move in the wind, but when you shape it, it adds a tremendous amount of strength so that when she's traveling down the road at 70 miles an hour, the scales stay solid and rigid. When we laid the scales out, we started at the tail and moved forward so that there's a shingling effect. Slipped each scale into the forge and fired it, and it allowed this really natural, beautiful patina without massive amount of chemicals. The tail itself took about 4 months to create. The trailer itself was built by Top Notch Trailers in Rochester, Washington. They were able to take my designs. The end of the trailer is right at where the rear stop tail turn lights are, and we had to bend an extension of cantilevered square steel tubing and then anchor that with additional tubes that allowed for that cantilevered weight, and that was all with the help of Loren Patterson in his welding studio. That tail section is then sheathed with steel because there's a wood stove in there, and we created an armature of the tail door. We hinged it and then took that armature to Travis Kahn, and Travis got the sheets of brass that had to be a lot thicker. As you can see, this fish tail has really dynamic, multi-dimensional form. In the center where it pulls together, we had to compress the tail and move the metal so that it thickened to get this inside curve, and then stretch it on the outside. He also scribed and created each piece and all riveted together and then made it balanced. Travis made a template that he would place onto the brass sheet metal, and then with a scribe, he scribed lines, and you can see with seemingly flat elements, we were able to create an incredible dynamic effect. You can see there's a patina on the tail, and that's actually a gun blue glassblowing that we used here. This was to emphasize the nautical nature of brass. It swings open and then allows access to the wood stove door. Loren and I mocked up the tail and made this wood stove. It's all custom. There's a 20-inch steel tube that's ½ an inch thick. It weighed about 250 pounds, and that was the body for the stove. And then the stovepipe comes up and goes through an S, and it heats the stones and allows for that to be the heat transfer for the steam. Beverly shear allowed him with an elliptical blade to feed the sheet metal through and hand cut each part. Started at the base, and then each progressive shingle cap, as you can see, is riveted and wrapped around the stovepipe really nice and tight, creating the dorsal fin. Which acted as a cap to all the shingles. So we moved up and slowly made each piece riveting and moving forward. One of the most important topics to discuss is material-based design. I first heard about this concept of design from my teacher, Bill Dawson, in Olympia, Washington. Every material is unique with layers of complexity. Every species of tree has different properties. Every individual tree has a different personality. Discover where it is weak so you can understand the limitations and represent the true strengths. When you experiment with a medium, you are learning from it and building a relationship. We discover wonderful potential and avoid time-consuming mistakes the more we can predict the behavior of the material. These fin doors were another incredible piece that Travis did. They emphasize the skills he has of chasing, taking a tool, much like a nail set, and then hammering with a hammer, and you chase the tool with your hammer. That allows you to put indentations and three-dimensional design, low relief three-dimensional design into sheet metal. Another example of chasing was this little nose breathing section, as you can see right above the eyes. Made these copper eye covers, and the eyes cover the light wells that are into the sauna, and these are blown glass plates, essentially. They light up at night and create an orange-blue light that projects from the eyes, and then also creates beautiful light inside the sauna. It took us quite a while to find a glass blower who could do what we needed, and we were lucky enough to find Kevin Regan of Central Glassworks in Centralia, Washington. He offers classes for people to learn about glass blowing and come in and gives people the opportunity to blow glass their first time. And I was actually able to be there with him while he blew the lower bulb and the eyes. It took us months to really find the right person, and then Kevin made it happen in one afternoon. The lure itself is a series of lapping, shingling small pieces so that we could get the contours of this curving form. Each type of brass can be very different, so we didn't know how far we could push it without cracking it. And so the very first thing that he made was actually the lure cover. It was that little flower-looking piece. And then ironically, it was the very last piece that was installed. We finished up all that metalwork with some woodworking. So this is where my part came into play. I used this beautiful clear cedar to create the front wall and mouth. The angle of the mouth is actually at 15 degrees. And I also made the door pretty heavy so that it had the weight, so that you had to push it open to enter, and then when you let it go, it drops down and closes shut. There's a mechanical door latch that's made from black walnut that came from my father's property in Deltaville, Virginia. I've carved each tooth. Each blade stroke is visible, and that blade stroke creates a texture that catches light extremely well. In the teeth especially, there are the blade strokes of simple tools like a hook knife and a gouge. And then I also collected all of these pieces for the gums. There was a logging site that I had found where they were cutting huge bolts and shipping them out with helicopters. At the end of all this work, they were just casting aside all of the pieces that weren't perfect. When I knew we were gonna make the gums, I knew it was the perfect use of the material. Each piece is then lapped over to shell water. So on the front, I used black locust, which is an incredibly rot-resistant material to frame the deck. And I was able to find a bandsaw miller who had a bunch that had some wane in it. And I wanted the curve for the mouth, so I was able to take a material that didn't have a super high value, but had exactly what I wanted in rot resistance and already a natural curve in the material. And there's actually a slight curve in the deck of the mouth. Let's take a look inside the belly of the beast. In front of the steel section, we had a wooden armature created to get all of the lines and shapes that we needed. Those were made with plywood templates and then glue lammed up to be very strong and stout. I had the opportunity to work with Sunray Kelly building some really fantastically creative buildings. And one of them was a 42-foot timber frame yurt. In the center of the 42-foot yurt, we took and bent cedar boards to create this garlic bulb-shaped dome. And after working with Sunray, I wanted to experiment on my own with the concepts that I had practiced in my own way. We used green cedar that was relatively thin so we could bend it into the shapes that we needed. And attach each board lapping and connecting to the board prior. On top of the cedar layer is then a furring strip layer. That 2-inch thick cavity was then filled with XPS closed cell spray foam. It's extremely rigid and strong. There's then a final layer of furring strips. Those acted as the screwing point for each scale. So we had to lay out each furring strip proportionately to the scale size. From the inside, you can see the cedar boards that were bent. You can also see the spinal cord of the fish made out of the same old growth. You can see the hand-forged hinges that we powder coated and these big slabs of cedar boards that act as the door. There's another piece of that black walnut that makes the light switches. There's a light inside of the eyes. There's a light underneath of the bench, and there's a light inside the lower bulb on the outside. That all runs on a DC marine battery. You can take her on the go. The sauna seats 8 people comfortably inside, and it works wonderfully well as a dry sauna, or if you want to steam it up, you reach down under the bench, grab the hose line, and spray down the stones. Accept challenges as potential friends. When we address the problem as a friend and we try to negotiate with the problem, all of a sudden those problems start becoming solutions. This project has done that for me. First, the actual building of it, and then writing the book. It's $30 for the book, but I will make signed copies of the book available. Just get in touch with me. I have this fish for sale right now, so feel free to contact me with my contact information below.
Stellan da Vinci, where technology meets art and what dreams are made of. Imagine a rotary tool, a drill press, a table saw, scroll saw, a router, a lathe, drum sander, disc sander, belt sander, reciprocating tool, a chisel, electric scissors, a vacuum and blower. Quite a mouthful, all in one toolkit. The dream is possible. At Stellan, we've devoted ourselves to making it easier for the dreamers and professionals of the world to bring their ideas to life. Anyone can use this toolkit for absolutely anything. Da Vinci works for everyone. Designed for portability and convenience, Stellan da Vinci features not only a variety of useful tools inside the Genius toolbox, but also the master handle for comfortable carrying and a stainless steel work surface so that you can do your work anywhere and everywhere. Cut, sand, saw, shave, drill, the surface makes it easy to do and the handle makes it easy to move. The right solution is always at your fingertips. All you need to decide is which project you're going to take on next. So, contribute today, choose the set that's right for you, and let's get working. Stellan da Vinci, where technology meets art, what dreams are made of.